A plane crashes into a California home, killing 2 people and injuring 2 others. And a 4-year-old accidentally shoots his pregnant mother in the face in Washington State.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock on Monday, February the 4th. Hopefully everybody is getting a little extra coffee this morning after staying up late last night to watch Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the New England Patriots capture their 6th Super Bowl title. Brandon watched a little bit of it, but he was hard at work on this show, so we're going to toss it over to him this morning as he gives you a forecast, Brandon, that many people might be loving this morning.
Exactly, especially for the early days of February. Yes, it is still February. Hard to believe by the thermometers this afternoon. Let's take a look at the cameras real quick, and we take a look over Hazard outside the WYMT studios. A quiet start to the day. Nothing to scan on Doppler, so we're going to skip it, going over to temperatures. Light jacket to maybe a little bit of a heavier jacket in some areas this morning, depending on where you're located. Valley's a little colder than those ridges, so keep an eye out for that. Later today, though, we'll be able to shed those, but you might need an umbrella a little later. Scattered chances for rain pickup. 65 a daytime high later today. The rest of the forecast on the way in just a few minutes. Will?
All righty, Brandon. Well, the Tennessee Highway Patrol is looking for suspects involved in a deadly hit and run that happened Saturday night. It happened in Winfield, Tennessee, not far from the Kentucky border. Officials say 21-year-old William Thomas was killed when 2 vehicles hit him on Scott Highway. Both drivers left the scene. Tennessee authorities are asking anyone with any information to please come forward. Meanwhile, a family is asking for help finding a man who went missing in eastern Kentucky in May of last year. William Cross is from Huntsville, Tennessee. Cross was dropped off on Williamsburg Street in Whitley City, Kentucky. He was last heard from that night. He told a family member he was walking alone in the woods. Well, a pilot in Minnesota had a scary landing when his engine overheated on Saturday. Michael Robbins has been flying planes for 30 years. On this particular Saturday, he decided to take his bright yellow Quad Cities Challenger on a short trip to visit some friends in New Richmond. After one of the coldest weeks of the year, his plane engine was overheating and needed to land. After circling for a little while, he decided to land the plane on the southbound I-35W ramp in Stacy.
I was shaking for a while just because I was so nervous, but now I'm fine.
Amazingly, Robbins was not injured and the plane was not damaged in the last-second landing. The local Quick Trip blocked off a couple parking spots to accommodate the 30-foot wingspan and the crowds of people who stopped to snap a picture. Law enforcement blocked off a nearby road so Robbins could finally make it to his destination a mere 7 hours later. Well, 5 people were killed and 2 others were injured when a small plane crashed into a home outside of Los Angeles Sunday. Pictures tweeted by the fire authority showed a heavily damaged home in a residential neighborhood. Adriana Wingold reports.
Terrifying moments on Crestnoll Drive in Yorba Linda after a Cessna crashed into this home.
I saw the house over here diagonal to me fully engulfed in flames. I heard glass breaking, people yelling for their lives, screaming, God help me.
Sarah Ahern says she heard the plane come down and immediately grabbed her kids, not knowing what had happened. Her husband Derek ran outside to put out a wing that was on fire.
It felt like an earthquake, so I actually grabbed my kids and went into the hallway under the door, and there were a couple of booms, explosions, and then my husband said, no, it's a plane.
Witnesses say the plane first hit the ground here on Crestnoll Drive. You can see the hole in the pavement as well as the plane parts scattered up against this home. Neighbors say they tried to do what they could to help before first responders got there, and they feel fortunate more people weren't hurt. In Yorba Linda, Adriana Weingold, CBS 2 News.
Now, the Cessna 414 had just departed from nearby Fullerton Municipal Airport before the crash. According to a spokesman with the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA and the National Transportation Safety Board are investigating. Now, heading over to Wise County this morning, a man faces charges because he cut down a tree that fell on a car that killed the driver. The Wise County Commonwealth's attorney says Tony Osborne is charged with involuntary manslaughter and trespassing. The tree fell on a woman's car while she was driving on Route 23. We do not know the name of the driver. Well, one deputy is dead and another injured after a standoff that began Saturday evening and ended Sunday morning in Pierce Township, Ohio. A fire also broke out at 7 a.m. as a result of the standoff. The suspect, 23-year-old Wade Edward Wynn, was taken into custody at 6:35 in the morning. Authorities say they were originally called to Wynn's apartment building for a psychiatric call. Police say Wynn barricaded himself in someone else's apartment.
It's ridiculous. Could have been avoided. You know, I mean, I guess there's nothing I can do about it now.
Nolan Proud's apartment and belongings were damaged in the fire that followed the standoff that lasted 12 hours. He is unable to stay in the apartment and will be staying with family for the time being. Well, Union College partners with the Knox County Country Club and golf course to keep it alive. City officials tell WYMT's Taylor Upchurch they're happy to see the university utilize Indian Springs Country Club instead of letting it go to waste.
It was great news for the city and the county both.
Union College makes a deal and takes it to the green, saving a community staple.
Once again, just like our Stivers Center, Union College has stepped in.
Mayor David Thompson says there was a time when Indian Springs Country Club thrived.
I remember riding my bicycle all the way from town out here when I was in high school and swimming and fishing in the pond.
Until now. For quite some time, golfers, campers, and their families questioned if board members could keep the facility running.
Just from what I've talked to the board members, it was preparing to close the doors forever.
Faculty at Union College announced their agreement with the board to sign a 5-year lease, naming them operator of the country club back in January.
And that is huge for the people that actually use it.
In a statement, the college's executive director of development, Brian Strunk, says, "We are very excited about the addition of Indian Springs to Union College."
It's not a revenue you probably don't see, but any loss in the community, especially a place like this where families come to, would have been a loss for our community.
The school will put together an operations team and prepare to open the course this spring. In Knox County, Taylor Upchurch, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, in the college's statement, faculty went on to say they will also look into possibly offering a membership pairing with the Stivers Aquatic Center. Well, a pregnant woman accidentally shot in the face by a toddler is recovering this morning. Although relatives all say it was a terrible accident, there is a chance charges will be filed. Washington State deputies say the woman was lying in bed Saturday night with her boyfriend watching TV. Her young son reached between the mattress and the box spring and found a loaded gun, and somehow the gun went off, according to authorities.
But lock up your guns, especially in your house. You can buy a trigger lock. That's pretty easy to put on a gun. You can put it in a safe.
Now, later today, detectives will look into the case to see if any charges are going to be filed. Well, it was back to the nitty-gritty for state lawmakers in Virginia on Sunday, and the show went on after the saga involving Governor Ralph Northam and the photo on his medical school yearbook page. The talking points remained the same, however, even as the eyes of the nation watch closely. Shane Doyer reports.
To ensure that the budget is structurally balanced.
It's back to the nitty-gritty for lawmakers in Richmond Sunday as the show must go on. The talking points remain the same even as the eyes of the country watch incredibly close.
No, we have a job to do. We've put our budget out. We'll have half sheets on the members' desk on Tuesday at 12 o'clock.
Budget proposals are the topic, a crucial step for the Commonwealth. Delegate Scott Garrett, serving the Lynchburg-Bedford area, wants Governor Northam out, but says the issues before Friday are still the issues now.
They seem somewhat sterile in the light of all of the emotional issues that are going on, but they frankly are the work that we are about.
Virtually every Democrat is in agreement, including Delegate Luke Torian of Prince William County, that Governor Northam must step down. He and other members of the Black Legislative Caucus were unswayed by the governor's explanation.
I certainly hope he will. I'm not sure, but I certainly hope that he will. His story is just really inconsistent, and because of that inconsistency, we find it difficult for him to continue to lead the Commonwealth.
But I believe then and now that I am not either of the people in that photo.
In the hours after Saturday's press conference, the calls for Northam to resign only intensified, and the executive mansion was quiet Sunday. As the hours count up on his survival clock, Richmond is keeping the most important topics in the forefront.
And I think as long as we stay focused on that, Virginia will win and Virginians will win. Obviously, there are distractions that come up, and from time to time, we deal with those.
Well, the forecast this morning as we head out the door, pretty quiet and pretty calm. Let's take a look at the camera network this morning. US 119 up on top of Whitesburg Pine Mountain. All quiet overnight. No snow up there. All that warm air we had this weekend melted all that away. UVA-wise, also quiet this morning. So a nice start to your day. Enjoy it because we'll see a few clouds start to drift in here in the next few hours and some rain showers a little bit later on tonight. But take a look at these temperatures already this morning. The valleys in the 30s there this morning, but those ridges close to 50 and spots. It'll be a cold start to your day, so bundle up. You'll need an umbrella and you'll be able to shed those jackets a little bit later on. 65 your forecast high. Yes, it is February. Your eyes aren't deceiving you. Will?
Crazy. Well, thanks for joining us for Mountain News this morning. More news is on your way. Well, Team Rough and Team Fluff competed for the Lombardi Trophy in yesterday's Puppy Bowl, which takes place before the Super Bowl every year. And when your mail is delivered today, be sure to thank your mail carrier. It is Mail Carrier Appreciation Day.